So in the last video I showed how to do some AI generation with the XTool Studio, and on one of my sublimation videos, Mark Cleary asked if I could do a video on doing the picture frames, because I had done picture frames like this, and I did another one on acrylic, and I did a whole video on that. So what I did was, in this video, I'm going to show how I did the prompts for getting the picture frame, and I'm going to show you real quick. This is what I came up with. I made a frame from the castle that I did the paint engraving on. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over how to come up with the prompts to create your own picture frame like this, and some things to do in editing it and cutting it out. I'm going to go over sublimating it onto the wood. I also did a little engraved one, which I think came out pretty good. I'll zoom in on these a little bit better in a second. But this video is going to cover editing, AI generation, and basically covering the picture frame, not just anything. And I didn't do this one in steampunk. I don't know why. I got sidetracked, but this is what we ended up with. And any of your prompts will work with steampunk too. So this is what we got. Here we go. Okay, so this is the past frame I did, and this is basically sublimated onto a piece of plywood using a laminate sheet, and I have a video covering that too. This one here is also sublimated onto plywood with a laminate sheet, and then that's a 3D engraved castle I did on layered paint in the frame, which is why I came up with this frame design. And we'll show some tips and tricks on AI generation and cutting them out, and I'll do a little bit of sublimation on it. I've done videos on that. But I also did one of these in an engraving, just a quick test. And as you can see, that came out pretty cool. And if you wanted, you could do a larger one. You could paint it and make it look really awesome. Maybe do some gold, the rub-on gold or silver or something like that. So that's what we've got for this. I'll go over how I came up with this, and we'll get started. All right, so in the comments, somebody asked me about how I created those steampunk picture frames. So I figured I'd do a new one, because this is one I wanted to do for the castle I designed. So basically what I did was create a picture frame with a green dragon laying across the bottom, decorative swords on both sides, and gold filigree across the top. So basically, this is what I got. Okay, now when you look at it, there's this weird ring here. I don't like that. So what we're going to try and do here is we're going to edit out that, we're going to prompt that ring out of there and center the dragon. Okay, so what I did was remove green dragon ring on the right and center the dragon on the bottom of the frame. I don't know what they're going to call that, but let's hope that's what they're calling it. And unfortunately, we got the exact same thing back. And I don't like getting charged for things that I don't like that. Download that one just so we can get rid of this one. I'm going to dislike this one. All right, so we're going to try this again. Now, I'm not sure if I'm in steampunk anymore, so this should be interesting to see what we get. Okay, so I like this, but why the dragon has a tail coming out of the front of it? I don't know. So let's try again to see if it'll actually fix anything. All right, so we're going to try this and see what we get. because that is definitely not what we want. And the picture frame is a little bit small, so we may have to think that through before we do another one. And as you can see, it gets to 99%, and then it waits almost as long as it took to get to the other part. And it did one thing, but not the other. Why we have to have a tail on the front of the dragon, I don't know. But it does get tedious having to tell it to do the same things over and over. I will say please this time and see if that helps. I don't even care if it centers at this point. I would just like it to be not having a tail coming out of the front of it. Everything else on it looks great. I really like the frame other than that. If we can get that tail fixed, this would be a really nice AI generation. And like I said, it sits at 99 for almost as long as it gets to 99. And I probably should have asked to remove that red on the lower part, but I don't even mind that as much as I mind the weird tail. Come on. I don't know why it says 99% and sits there for 10 minutes. Oh, and there we are. That's what we want right there. That is cool. Okay, so this is how you get a picture frame with the prompts you want. It takes some work with the AI generation. I don't know why it adds the tail on the front. I have no idea. And the frame, you may have to give the parameters for the frame to start with, like 5x7 or whatever you want. And I'm not sure if it'll go in inches. That's something we'll have to work further on. But that is exactly what I was looking for. So I hope this helped. This is just a quick video to add on to that last one I did. I hope it helps, and I will continue with more stuff. Okay, so once you've got this image, what I do is I put my sublimation on the board, whether you're sublimating directly on painted polyacrylic wood or you're sublimating on laminate sheet onto the wood, or however you're doing it. Once I get that onto the wood, then I take this and I make the cut files to cut out the sublimation. And basically to do that, I just take an offset on the outer one and I create a 0 offset, confirm, make it red, or whatever color you want for cut. I usually use red for cut. Okay, so now in the middle, you want this cut out. This is where it gets a little tricky, and I did this in another video, but I'm just going to do a real quick show just to give you an idea how to do this. So basically, make your trace, and then you want to hit edit. You want to zoom in, and then you're just going to pick points. All right, so you want to lock it at that point, and then you're just going to pick points, and you're going to drag this up and around each section like this until you get everything traced out. So when you're done, I'm not going to go do this whole thing. I did another video on it, and I spent a little more on that than I probably bored you, but I'm just going to show you real quick. What you end up with is there's your trace of your dragon, and you just slide that onto there when you're, and that's your cut file. Now, you could try this and other things too. I would think maybe trying it in a 3D engrave would be kind of cool. So I don't know how that would look. I would have to edit the image. You would have to probably, I would turn it probably grayscale. And you would end up with something like that. And you know what, just for the fun of it, we'll do a quick engrave on that and see what it looks like. All right, so one of the things, this whole section here is black, and we're going to cut that out. So what you might want to do is actually get rid of the black so you don't waste a bunch of black ink. So what you can do is you can go to cutout, go into here and use the magic wand and click on that, and that gets rid of almost all the black, except, oh, it messes up right there. That might not work so well. So what you can do is you can take your eraser and just, once it comes up on the screen, and I couldn't see it, hit undo again. The eraser on black is hard to see. All right, but now we got an idea where it is. You just want to go in with your eraser, once you find it, and just erase. Well, and if you let off the eraser periodically, if you do a big mess up, if you go like swipe and let off, and swipe and let off, like that, if you slip up, like say you want like that, you don't have to redo all of it. You can just back up one step. And then you can make this smaller, get your finer detail. So say you want to get into here, which it's hard to see it on the black, but once you get an idea of where you started, see you can get right up close. And it's time consuming, and if you don't care about your sublimation ink, you can just go ahead and burn through the ink, whatever you want to do. But that's a possibility if you wanted to get rid of the big black area and not print it. And it won't engrave it either if you get rid of it. So that's just a possibility. So we're going to hit cancel on that, and we're done. Okay, I'm going to shut that off. This is our design, our sublimation design on the laminate sheet. Well, anyway, here is our design. And there's our picture frame for our castle that I just designed on AI. So here it is, cut out in the laser. And see, it cut our frame out really nice. We'll put it down like that so you can see it. I got a little bit of a spot on the tail that I could have got a little better, but it came out pretty darn good. So if you're looking to generate something in AI, I hope some of these prompts and ideas helped. This can be a total comedy routine with some of the stuff you come up with. I actually did one where it generated the image and it said image inappropriate to show. Now I don't know how it generated something it wasn't allowed to show, but it makes no sense. But you'll come up with some fun stuff, but you can come up with some really cool stuff too. I mean, I love that frame. I think that came out great. These ones look awesome. And I've got a lot more videos coming. I've got a real cool one coming up, a larger scale one. If you like the video, give a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Show me some pictures of some of the stuff you've AI generated. Show me some of the wacky stuff it comes up with. That's some of my favorite part. The tail coming out of the front of the dragon, things like that. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.